secondary sanctions deadline today. The president had signaled a possible meeting with Putin next week, potentially in the United Arab Emirates, which I first reported on this program yesterday. He is also still pushing for a trilateral meeting between himself, Putin, and Ukrainian President Zelensky. But Putin is rejecting having Zelensky in the meeting unless certain conditions are met. Meanwhile, the president ruling out trade negotiations with India until tariff disputes are resolved, warning that there will be secondary sanctions on India's continued purchase of oil from Russia. Joining me now is Mahoney Asset Management CEO Ken Mahoney. Ken, great to see you. Your reaction to all the moves on foreign policy this morning?
Yeah, there's a lot going on, that's for sure. And at least it's getting the parties together. I mean, like you said, 3, 4, 5,000 deaths per week and all this. And I think the headline also is going to be about, the new Fed governor who's going to be less hawkish than what we've had. And, the dual mandate, we've been hearing this over and over again. But you look at that yield curve and you have Fed fund rates, overnight rates, Maria, 4.25%, 4.5%, and the 2-year Treasury rate sitting at 3.70%. It makes no sense. So I think that's going to be a biggie. And also, as you said, this is a total breakout. We've been all naysayers and all negativity about the tariff strategy and everything the president's doing. Here's the NASDAQ. Set a record yesterday, as you mentioned, and also setting another record this morning. So AI is all the rage, all the spend that's happening. It's really exciting times, to tell you the truth, to be in the market.
Well, I mean, look, I want to take a look at Apple because a lot of about Apple this morning after a pretty good breakout yesterday. Do you think this move in Apple yesterday, breaking out, gives us any signs of what's ahead for Apple and other major?
I think so. One thing about Apple, again, the earnings weren't great. But look, they're also playing nice now with the administration, right? Adding another $100 billion in manufacturing plants and so forth. But one thing about Apple, you have to remember in this quarter's report, they have 2.4 billion users. I mean, that's crazy, or 2.4 billion devices. Maria, you could do a lot of monetization off a 2.4 billion platform. And I think more and more people are thinking Apple, not as a tech company, yes, they're a hardware company. Yes, they sell phones, but more of a service company. I think Tim Cook did a really nice pivot with shareholders and explain that to them, that once you get to this 2 billion users, a little tweak here, a little $5 here, a little $10 a month here adds up to the bottom line. And this is a total technical breakout on top of it. As you said, Maria, the stock broke downtrend on huge volume. Look at the volume last couple of days. So hopefully this is for real, and that could lead the NASDAQ.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about the Fed. What is your thought on what we're seeing here with the president and nominating, White House economist Stephen Moran to the Federal Reserve Board? He will fill Adriana when she steps down today. Moran backing President Trump's push for aggressive rate cuts. He would potentially serve through January 2026 while continuing to search for a permanent pick. Fed Governor Christopher Waller, meanwhile, emerging, according to frontrunner, to replace Jay Powell next year. The White House says this: unless it comes from President Trump himself, any personnel talks is just speculation, Ken. We know that President Trump is thinking very soon of either Kevin Hassett or Kevin Warsh, but now we are hearing more about Christopher Waller. What's your take on whether or not one of those people materializes as the next chairman of the Federal Reserve and its impact?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, the two Kevins he likes the best. I'm glad actually Treasury Secretary is not going to take that post. I think he's really good where he is. He's a calming voice. He's getting a lot of things done. I just look at this, Maria, that, between now and May when Powell's term is up, that seems like a very long runway. I'm not sure he's going to last. I know it's been talked about, but that's, again, it's one thing, it's a few weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Now, certainly now with the labor report we had just last Friday, at 73,000 jobs created, much lower than expected, and all those revisions, I have to think this Fed, which had 2 distance, by the way, in the last call, are really going to start getting their act together, start cutting rates September. So it won't feel like this long runway between now and May of 2026. But I think the names that the Trump has been speaking about are the best.
Is it enough to see this market continue? Is the tech sector leading things enough to believe that you want to buy stocks here and things go higher from here? What's your take there? Do you want to buy stocks right here? Because the AI race is obviously accelerating. We've got OpenAI rolling out GPT-5, Chat GPT-5, advanced AI model to all Chat GPT users, including free ones. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman will be joining us this morning. He says it's like having a team of PhD level experts on demand. And then you've got Apple, of course, announcing will invest an additional $100 billion into the United States, bringing its total commitment to $600 billion over the next 4 years, as you just mentioned. Are these headlines enough to believe that this market continues going higher?
Hey, yes, we would. And again, I love the idea. It's around me at all times to help me make decisions. I've been telling clients, think about the monopoly board of AI. The coveted spots are Park Place and Boardwalk, right? $350, $400, and that's what you own. The equivalent is Microsoft and NVIDIA having Boardwalk and Park Place. And the first thing you do, you want to buy a parcel, that is get a position. And like the game of Monopoly, you want to continue to add that position, add a house, add a hotel, you know how the game goes and so forth, and continue to collect money as it picks and shovels. Now, this is only accelerating, the competition even heating up. The numbers are staggering. In fact, analysts are still tripping over themselves from this earnings season, especially Meta, Microsoft, who raised guidance. And now those same analysts are going from buy to strong buys or hold to buys and 510 price targets of 580. And that's what's happening right now, Marie.